Have you ever done something so unexpected, so fearless, so spiritually powerful that heaven itself went silent for a moment? Not because God was angry with you, but because even the angels could not believe what they had just witnessed through you. Chosen one, this message is not random. You clicked on this because your spirit has been carrying a fire that this world cannot explain. People looked at your pain and expected you to break. They watched your betrayal and thought you would become bitter. They saw the attacks, the loneliness, the humiliation, the silent nights where nobody checked on you, and they assumed you would collapse under the pressure. But instead, you did something that shocked heaven itself. You forgave when revenge would have been easier. You stayed humble when success finally arrived. You kept praying after disappointment. You kept loving after betrayal. You kept walking with God even when it felt like he was silent. And the moment you made that choice, even reacted. Because there are moments in life when your actions become louder than your prayers. There are moments when your obedience shakes dimensions you cannot see. And chosen one, what you recently did in silence sent a sound into the spirit realm that echoed through eternity. God saw it. Heaven witnessed it. And the angels themselves were stunned by the strength hidden inside you. This is not just another motivational message. This is confirmation. Confirmation that your spirit has matured beyond what people around you understand. You are entering a season where your reactions matter more than your words. Anybody can talk faith. Anybody can post scriptures. Anybody can pretend to trust God when life is easy. But when your heart is crushed, when your name is attacked, when doors close in your face, and you still choose righteousness, that is when heaven pays attention. Chosen one, there is a reason your battles have been heavier lately. The enemy was trying to provoke you to becoming someone you are not. They wanted you angry. They wanted you corrupted. They wanted you to lose control. They wanted your pain to transform you into bitterness, because the enemy understands something many people do not. Your spirit carries influence. Your decisions shift atmospheres. The way you respond to suffering has power. And when you refuse to become toxic after everything you endured, God screamed at your act, not with anger, with pride, with divine approval, because heaven rarely finds souls who remain pure after being wounded deeply. Most people change when pain enters their lives. Some become cold, some become manipulative, some stop believing, some stop loving. But you, somehow, despite everything, still carry light inside you. That shocked the spiritual realm. People around you may never fully understand your journey. They only see pieces of the story. They did not see the nights you cried alone asking God why you had to endure so much. They did not see spiritual warfare happening behind closed doors. They did not see how many times you almost gave up. They did not see how hard it was to keep smiling while carrying invisible battles. Yet despite all of that, you still chose faith, and heaven noticed. Do you understand how rare that is? There are people who praise God only when blessings arrive, but chosen ones praise God in storms. That is why your spirit is different. That is why your life has never felt ordinary. Your soul was designed to carry weight others could not survive. And although the process nearly destroyed you at times, it also purified you. The reason many people misunderstood you is because they judged you by your silence. They thought silence meant weakness, but your silence was restraint. Your silence was wisdom. Your silence was spiritual discipline. You could have exposed people. You could have destroyed reputations. You could have retaliated. But you let God handle battles you were strong enough to fight yourself. That restraint shook heaven, because true power is not shown through destruction. True power is revealed through control. And chosen one, there are angels assigned to your life who have watched your growth with amazement. Imagine that for a moment. Heavenly beings witnessing your transformation, watching you survive seasons that should have broken you mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Watching you get back up after disappointments that would have ended weaker souls. Watching you continue forward with tears in your eyes but faith still alive in your spirit. You thought nobody noticed, but heaven did. God saw every hidden sacrifice, every silent prayer, every temptation you resisted, every time you wanted to quit but kept going, every moment you swallowed your pride and chose peace, every act of obedience when nobody was clapping for you, and now heaven is responding. Chosen one, something powerful happens when your private character becomes stronger than your public. I see image. That is the level God has been building inside you. You are no longer chasing validation from people because your spirit is learning to value divine approval more than human applause. That shift changes everything. Many people can fool crowds, but nobody can fool heaven. God knows who you are when nobody is watching. And recently, your actions revealed a depth of spiritual maturity that shocked the unseen realm. The enemy expected you to curse your destiny after the delay. Instead, you thanked God anyway. The enemy expected heartbreak to destroy your faith. Instead, your spirit became stronger. The enemy expected betrayal to make you cruel. Instead, you became wiser without losing your kindness. Do you realize how powerful that is? Your response became a weapon. And that is why spiritual resistance around you has been increasing lately. Darkness becomes uncomfortable around people who refuse to become corrupted. Your presence exposes things without even trying. What is why some people feel convicted around you? That is why fake energy cannot stay comfortable near your spirit for long. You carry something heaven built now. Pain built it. Loneliness built it. Prayer built it. Silence built it. And God allowed every difficult season because He was creating a version of you that could not be easily manipulated by the world. Chosen one, hear this clearly. The storm did not come to destroy you. It came to reveal you. And what was revealed shocked even the angels. Because inside you was a warrior nobody expected. Inside you was endurance nobody could explain. Inside you was mercy when revenge would have been justified. Inside you was loyalty after being abandoned. Inside you was faith after disappointment. That is divine character. That is spiritual royalty. And heaven celebrates that more than earthly success. Some of you listening have been wondering why blessings seem delayed despite your obedience. But what if God was more focused on developing your spirit than simply making your life comfortable? Because temporary blessings without spiritual maturity destroy many people. God needed to know that when elevation arrived, you would not lose your soul. So He tested your heart. He watched how you treated people when you were hurting. He watched how you behaved when nobody appreciated you. He watched whether pain would make you evil. And chosen one, you passed tests you did not even realize you were taking. That is why your next season will feel different. Because heaven rewards integrity eventually. Not always immediately, but inevitably. People may have laughed when you stayed calm. They may have mocked your patience. They may have thought you were foolish for remaining humble. But they could not see what was happening spiritually. Every righteous decision was building unseen favor around your life. Every time you chose character over chaos, you were aligning yourself with divine timing. God is not ignored. In you. He is preparing an entrance for you that no human being will be able to block. And the same people who underestimated your quiet obedience will eventually witness what heaven has been preparing behind the scenes. Chosen one, never underestimate the power of one faithful act. One decision can alter your destiny forever. One moment of obedience can unlock doors generations before you could not open. The reason the enemy attacked you so heavily before this season is because your breakthrough is connected to more than just you. Your healing will heal others. Your testimony will awaken others. Your endurance will inspire others to keep believing. You are carrying generational impact. That is why your warfare felt abnormal. But listen carefully now. The very thing meant to break you has become proof that God is with you. You survived things people never even knew you were facing. You smiled while your spirit was exhausted. You encouraged others while secretly fighting your own battles. You carried responsibilities nobody thanked you for. And still, somehow, you kept moving. That resilience is holy. That endurance is sacred, and heaven honors it. There are blessings coming into your life that will not make sense to people who only saw your struggle but never understood your obedience. Because God does not reward performance. He rewards the heart. And your heart continued reaching toward Him even during seasons when nothing made sense. That touched heaven deeply. Chosen one, your story is becoming evidence that darkness cannot destroy someone protected by purpose. People tried to discourage you because they sensed something unusual about your future. Some walked away because your destiny intimidated them. Others betrayed you because they were secretly uncomfortable with your light. But none of it stopped what God planned. If anything, it refined you. And now your spirit carries authority, not fake authority built on ego. Real authority built through suffering. The kind of authority demons recognize. The kind of authority that shifts atmospheres when you enter rooms. The kind of authority that comforts broken people without you even trying. God has been shaping you in hidden places because public power without private preparation becomes dangerous. That is why isolation became part of your process. Heaven needed your attention away from noise so your spirit could develop correctly. And now you are emerging different, stronger, wiser, more discerning, less desperate for approval, more connected to God than ever before. Chosen one, this next season will reveal why everything happened the way it did. The delays, the heartbreaks, the closed doors, the loneliness, the confusion, none of it was meaningless. Heaven was constructing a soul capable of carrying destiny without self-destruction. And the moment you responded to pain with faith instead of bitterness, God screamed at your act. Because even angels were amazed. They expected you to fall apart. Instead, you evolved. They expected darkness to consume you. Instead, your light intensified. They expected your spirit to collapse under pressure. Instead, you became unstoppable. Never forget this. Your greatest spiritual victories often happen in silence. No audience, no applause. Just you, your pain, and the decision to still choose God anyway. Those are the moments that define eternity. Those are the moments heaven remembers. So if you have been feeling exhausted lately, if you have been wondering whether your obedience matters, if you have questioned whether God sees your sacrifices, this message is your answer. He sees everything. Nothing about your journey has been ignored. Every tear counted, every prayer heard, every sacrifice recorded. And heaven is preparing a response greater than you can currently imagine. Stay faithful a little longer. Stay humble a little longer. Stay disciplined a little longer, because what God is about. To release into your life will make every painful season understandable. One day you will look back at this chapter and realize the pressure was creating power inside you. The isolation was creating wisdom. The heartbreak was creating discernment. The delay was creating endurance. And when your moment finally arrives, people will call it luck, but heaven will call it reward. Chosen one, your spirit survived what should have destroyed you. And because of that, you are stepping into a season where divine favor will speak louder than human opinions ever could. This is not the end of your story. This is the beginning of your elevation. Chosen one, there is something you must understand before this next chapter of your life begins. God does not elevate people simply because they suffered. Many people suffer and become bitter. Many people go through pain and allow darkness to reshape their character. But you carried pain without letting it poison your spirit completely. That is difference. That is why heaven has been watching you differently. You thought your delays meant abandonment. But the truth is, heaven was studying your reactions. Every season was revealing who you really were beneath the pressure. Because pressure exposes truth. Anybody can appear spiritual when life is comfortable. Anybody can smile when prayers are being answered immediately. But what about when heaven feels silent? What about when betrayal comes from people you love deeply? What about when the very people you sacrificed for suddenly turn against you? That is where identity is revealed. And chosen one, your response became a testimony before your breakthrough ever arrived. You have to realize something powerful. Some of the greatest spiritual victories happen before physical manifestations appear. Long before the blessing becomes visible, something shifts in the unseen realm. Heaven begins making announcements about people who remain faithful during impossible seasons. Your name has been mentioned, not because you are perfect, not because you never doubted, not because you never cried, but because despite all of it, you stayed connected to God. That shocked the angels, because they saw how intense the warfare became around your life. They saw how many traps were placed in your path. They witnessed how loneliness surrounded you at certain points. They saw people misunderstand your heart, question your intentions, and betray your loyalty. Yet somehow, through every attack, there was still a small fire inside you refusing to die. Chosen one, do you know how powerful that is? The enemy thought exhaustion would silence your spirit forever, but instead of quitting, you became deeper. Instead of becoming weaker, you became more discerning. Instead of depending on people, you learned how to depend on God, and that transformation is sacred. Some people around you cannot recognize who you are becoming because they only knew the old version of you. They remember the version that tolerated disrespect. They remember the version that chased validation. They remember the version that doubted themselves constantly. But heaven has been rebuilding you quietly. Now your energy is different. Your spirit is calmer. Your discernment is sharper. Your standards are higher. Your connection with God is stronger. And people can feel it even if they cannot explain it. Chosen one, there are certain storms that only arrive when greatness is near. That is why the attacks intensified before your breakthrough. Darkness does not waste energy attacking empty vessels. The enemy attacks what carries purpose, and your life carries too much purpose for the enemy to ignore. That is why confusion surrounded you. That is why relationships suddenly shifted. That is why some doors closed unexpectedly. That is why you felt isolated from people who once felt close. It was not random. God was separating you from environments that could not carry your next level. Sometimes divine protection feels like painful rejection. Sometimes God removes people because they would sabotage where He is taking you. And chosen one, although separation hurt, it also protected your destiny. There are people who would have celebrated your downfall secretly while smiling in your face publicly. There are people who enjoyed your brokenness because it made them feel superior. There are people who wanted access to your energy without truly caring about your soul. But heaven saw everything, and slowly God began exposing hidden motives around you. That exposure was uncomfortable because your heart genuinely loved people. You wanted to believe the best about everyone. But chosen one of the hardest lessons spiritually mature people learn is this: not everybody connected to you is assigned to you. Some people are lessons, some people are distractions, some people are tests, and some people only appear until your spirit outgrows them. That is what your loneliness became necessary. God needed your ears away from constant noise so your spirit could hear Him clearly again. Because before elevation comes clarity. Before destiny unfolds, confusion must break. And heaven has been removing every voice that kept you disconnected from your true identity. You are not who your trauma says you are. You are not who betrayal says you are. You are not who rejection says you are. You are who God called you to be before pain ever entered your life. And slowly, chosen one, your spirit is remembering that truth again. This is why your energy intimidates certain people now. You carry survival in your eyes. You carry wisdom born through suffering. You carry calmness that only develops after surviving chaos repeatedly. And even though some days you still feel tired emotionally, your spirit has become dangerous to darkness. Because now you know God kept you alive for a reason. There were moments you should not have survived mentally. Moments you should have collapsed emotionally. Moments you should have completely lost yourself. Yet here you are, still standing, still believing, still breathing, still carrying purpose. That alone is a miracle. Chosen one, never ignore the fact that your survival itself is evidence of divine covering. The enemy had opportunities to destroy you. There were seasons where one wrong decision could have ruined your future completely. But somehow, even during your lowest moments, God protected you from becoming permanently lost. That was grace. That was mercy. That was divine intervention. And heaven knows it. The angels witnessed moments where God covered you without your awareness. Situations could have ended differently. Accidents could have happened. Emotional breakdowns could have consumed you entirely. But there was protection around your life that you could not see. Because your assignment on this earth is not finished. There are still people waiting for your testimony. There are still souls who need your wisdom. There are still broken hearts that will heal through your story. Your pain was never meaningless. It was preparation. And although you hated the process at times, it created spiritual depth inside you that cannot be faked. Chosen one, there is a difference between people who speak about God and people who have actually walked through fire with God. Fire changes your voice. Fire changes your discernment. Fire changes the way you see people. And after everything you survived, your spirit now carries a depth that cannot be taught in ordinary seasons. That is why your words impact people differently now. That is why strangers open up to you unexpectedly. That is why your presence calms certain people. You carry evidence of survival. And heaven trusts people who survive storms without losing their humanity completely. Listen carefully now, because this part is important. The reason you have been feeling spiritually restless lately is because your next chapter is approaching quickly. Deep inside, your spirit can sense movement happening in the unseen realm. Doors are shifting. Connections are shifting. Opportunities are aligning. Things you prayed about long ago are beginning to move toward you quietly. But before manifestation comes one final test. Will you trust God even before you see evidence? Because faith is not proven after the blessing arrives. Faith is proven while waiting. And chosen one, your waiting season has not been wasted. You were developing endurance. You were developing wisdom. You were developing emotional discipline. You were learning how to hear God beyond emotions. That training will matter in your next season. Because where God is taking you, emotional immaturity cannot survive there. Your next level requires stability. It requires discernment. It requires self-control. And heaven has been preparing you carefully because your influence is about to increase. Some of you listening underestimate the impact your life will have on others. You think your story is small because you compare yourself to visible success around you. But heaven measures differently. God is not impressed by popularity the way humans are. God values transformed hearts. God values obedience in hidden places. God values people who remain authentic even when nobody rewards them for it. That is why your quiet obedience has become so powerful. Heaven noticed the moments nobody else celebrated. The nights you prayed through tears. The mornings you forced yourself to keep going. The times you encouraged others while secretly needing encouragement yourself. The moments you resisted temptation privately. The times you apologized first just to keep peace. The moments you chose healing instead of revenge. Those decisions mattered more than you realize. Every righteous act built spiritual authority around your life, and now your atmosphere is changing because of it. Chosen one, the version of you entering this next season is not the same person who began the journey. You are stronger now, not loud stronger, not arrogant stronger, quiet stronger. The kind of strength that no longer needs constant validation. The kind of strength that can walk away from chaos without explanation. The kind of strength that chooses peace over proving a point. That maturity is priceless. And honestly, some people lost access to you because they were only comfortable with the broken version of you. They knew how to manipulate your insecurity. They knew how to control your emotions. But now your spirit sees differently. Now your discernment catches hidden intentions quickly. Now your soul values peace too much to entertain confusion. That growth made some people uncomfortable. But do not apologize for evolving. You prayed for healing. This is what healing looks like. It looks like boundaries. It looks like discernment. It looks like no longer begging for bare minimum love. It looks like walking away from disrespect peacefully. It looks like trusting God enough to release what no longer aligns with your spirit. And chosen one, heaven is proud of your transformation. Even when you doubted yourself, heaven still saw progress. Even when you felt weak, heaven still saw growth. Even when you felt behind in life, heaven still saw preparation happening. Nothing has been wasted. Not the heartbreak, not the delay, not the confusion, not the tears. Every painful season carried hidden purpose. One day you will understand why certain prayers were delayed. One day you will thank God for doors that refused to open. One day you will realize some losses were actually rescues. And when that understanding finally reaches your spirit fully, peace will enter your heart in a way you have never experienced before. Chosen one, your future is bigger than your current emotions. Do not let temporary exhaustion make permanent decisions for you. You are too close to your breakthrough. Quit now. Heaven did not preserve you this long just for your story to end in defeat. There is still greatness inside you waiting to emerge. There is still purpose attached to your name. There are still miracles assigned to your future. And the same God who carried you through every dark season will carry you through this next chapter too. So stand up again, pray again, believe again, trust again, because heaven has already seen who you are becoming. And what God saw inside you was so powerful, so rare, so faithful, that even the angels were left speechless.